The morning sun bathed the extensive gardens of the Blackwell mansion, illuminating the colourful flowers and lush trees that formed a true green paradise. Among the well-tended flower beds, two girls ran and laughed, their voices echoing across the property. Abigail, with her tousled curls and simple dress, chased Harper, whose long hair fluttered behind her as she fled from her friend. "Not fair, Harper, you're faster," Abigail shouted amidst laughter, trying to catch up with her friend who skillfully weaved between the bushes. Harper suddenly stopped, turning to Abigail with a mischievous smile. "All right, let's play something else then. How about hide and seek?" Abigail's eyes shone with excitement. "Yay, I love hide and seek, but this time I'll count, okay?" The two girls spent hours playing in the gardens, hiding behind trees, inside bushes, and even in the small hedge maze at the back of the property. For them, it didn't matter that Abigail was the gardener's daughter and Harper the heiress of the mansion. In that world of play and imagination, they were just two best friends enjoying a sunny day. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of orange, the girls sat exhausted on the soft grass near the central fountain. Harper took Abigail's hand, her eyes shining with an uncommon seriousness for her 8 years of age. "Abby, promise that we'll be best friends forever." Abigail shook her friend's hand back, smiling. "Of course, Harper, forever and ever." The years passed, and despite the inevitable changes that life brought, Abigail and Harper maintained their friendship. Even when Harper went to a prestigious boarding school and Abigail continued at the local school, they would talk whenever they could on the phone and spent every holiday together at the Blackwell mansion. Harper's family always treated Abigail kindly, inviting her to dinners and even on some trips. Mrs. Blackwell, in particular, had a special affection for the girl with the easy smile and generous heart who brought so much joy to her daughter. As they became adults, life naturally took them down different paths. Harper graduated in dermatology and opened her own aesthetics clinic, quickly becoming one of the most sought-after professionals in the region. Abigail, in turn, got a job as a receptionist at one of the Blackwell family companies, grateful for the opportunity given to her. Although they didn't see each other as often as they would like, the two kept in constant contact through messages. Abigail was the shoulder Harper leaned on during difficult days at the clinic, and Harper was the first to celebrate every little achievement of Abigail's. When Harper met Brady, a charming businessman from an equally wealthy family, Abigail was her confidant throughout the entire dating process. On nights when Harper had doubts or insecurities, it was Abigail she called, sometimes spending hours on the phone dissecting every detail of their meetings. And it was Abigail who was the first person Harper called at 2 a.m, screaming with joy after Brady proposed to her during a candle-lit dinner. Abby, you won't believe it!" Harper exclaimed as soon as Abigail answered the phone, her voice trembling with emotion. Abigail, still sleepy, sat up in bed, alarmed. "What is it, Harper? Did something happen?" "Yes! Oh, Abby, Brady asked me to marry him." Abigail's joyful scream probably woke up half of her building, but she didn't care. "Oh my God, Harper, that's wonderful! Tell me everything, every detail!" The two spent the next 2 hours on the phone with Harper describing the romantic proposal in minute detail, and Abigail letting out sighs and exclamations at the right moments. By the time they finally hung up, it was almost dawn, but both were glowing with happiness. The following months were a whirlwind of preparations for the wedding. As expected, the event promised to be the social happening of the year, with the cream of local society eager to attend the union of two of the region's most prominent families. Harper threw herself into the preparations, determined to have the wedding of her dreams. Choosing the dress, the ceremony location, the flowers, the menu. Every detail was meticulously planned and reconsidered dozens of times. It was during the selection of bridesmaids that Harper faced an unexpected dilemma. While organising the guest list with her wedding planner and some friends from the country club, Abigail's name came up. "And what about Abigail, dear? You're going to invite her to be a bridesmaid, aren't you?" asked the planner, an elegant middle-aged woman named Vivian. Harper opened her mouth to answer yes, of course, when she was interrupted by Cassandra, one of her friends from the club. "Abigail? You're not talking about the gardener's daughter, are you? Cassandra asked, her tone making it clear what she thought of the idea. Well, yes, Harper replied, suddenly feeling uncomfortable. She's been my best friend since childhood. Another friend, Brittany, leaned forward with an expression of false concern. Harper, darling, are you sure? I mean, being a godmother involves a lot of expenses. Dress, shoes, gifts. Don't you think it would be too much of a burden for her? Not to mention that it wouldn't look very good to have the gardener's daughter as a bridesmaid at a wedding of this scale, added Cassandra, shrugging as if she were merely stating a fact. Harper felt a knot form in her stomach. Part of her wanted to defend Abigail, to say that she was more than just the gardener's daughter. But another part, a part she wasn't proud of, began to consider her friend's words. What if Abigail really felt uncomfortable with the expenses? What if she felt out of place among the other bridesmaids? Maybe you guys are right, Harper murmured, feeling guilty the moment the words left her mouth. I can invite her as a regular guest. That way she doesn't have to worry about all these bridesmaid details. Vivian, the planner, seemed uncomfortable with the situation, but maintained a professional smile. As you prefer, dear. Shall we continue with the list then? The weeks passed, and Harper tried to ignore the pang of guilt she felt every time she talked to Abigail about the wedding. She convinced herself that she was doing what was best for her friend, sparing her from the stress and expenses of being a bridesmaid. Finally, the big day arrived. The city's most luxurious banquet hall had been transformed into a fairy tale scene, with white and yellow flowers everywhere, crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, and a decor that screamed elegance and sophistication. The guests began to arrive, filling the hall with murmurs of excitement and admiration. Abigail arrived early, wearing a simple but beautiful dress she had saved for months to purchase. She sat in one of the middle rows, her heart racing with happiness for her friend. Meanwhile, outside the hall, Harper was having an anxiety attack inside the limousine that was supposed to take her to the ceremony. Her beautiful white dress seemed to suffocate her, and she felt like she couldn't breathe. I can't do this, she gasped to her bridesmaids, who surrounded her with panicked expressions. What if I trip? What if Brady isn't the right man? What if... The bridesmaids were trying to calm her down, offering water, fanning her with their hands, but nothing seemed to work. Harper felt like she was about to faint. That's when one of the bridesmaids had an idea. Abigail, she always manages to calm Harper. I'll get her. Before anyone could protest, the bridesmaid ran inside the hall, located Abigail, and quickly pulled her outside, explaining the situation. Abigail, without hesitating for a second, got into the limousine. Seeing Harper's state, her heart tightened. She sat next to her friend, taking her trembling hands. Hey, Harp, she said softly, using the childhood nickname. Look at me. Breathe with me, okay? Slowly. Harper focused her tearful eyes on Abigail, following her slow and steady breathing. Gradually, she felt the panic subside. Remember when we were little? Abigail continued, smiling gently. You always said you wanted a princess wedding. Remember how we played bride in the garden using sheets as veils? Harper let out a shaky laugh, memories flooding her mind. You always wanted to be the priest. Yes, because I wanted to have the honor of declaring you the most beautiful bride in the world, Abigail replied, squeezing her friend's hands. And you know what? Today you are more beautiful than we ever imagined in those games. And you are about to marry a wonderful man who loves you. Isn't that a dream coming true? Abigail's words seemed to dispel the last clouds of anxiety. Harper took a deep breath, feeling a wave of calm envelop her. You're right, she said, smiling at her friend. Thank you, Abby. I don't know what I would do without you. The two embraced, and for a moment, they were once again those carefree girls playing in the gardens of the mansion. Now go there and fulfill your princess dream, Abigail said, helping Harper adjust her dress. With a final hug, Abigail exited the limousine and returned to the ballroom, her heart full of love and pride for her friend. The ceremony was beautiful, exactly as Harper had always dreamed. When she entered the ballroom, radiant and confident, her eyes met Abigail's for a brief moment, and a smile of gratitude was exchanged between the two. During the subsequent party, Harper was floating with happiness, dancing with Brady and greeting the guests. It was then that she heard something that made her stop in her tracks. "I can't believe the gardener's daughter had the nerve to come in that dress," a mocking voice said not far from her. "Probably only invited out of pity," another voice responded with a cruel laugh. Harper turned, shocked, to see two of her supposed friends from the club looking in the direction of Abigail, who was sitting alone at a table, looking a bit out of place. At that moment, something broke inside Harper. All the doubts and insecurities that had led her not to invite Abigail to be her maid of honor seemed ridiculous and petty. She recalled all the moments Abigail had been by her side, how she had calmed her today, how she had always been her true friend, no matter the circumstances. Without thinking twice, Harper walked to the center of the room, took the microphone, and asked for everyone's attention. "I would like to make a special acknowledgement," she began, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. "Abigail, could you come up here, please?" Abigail, surprised, stood up hesitantly and walked over to Harper, aware of the gaze of all the guests. Harper took Abigail's hand, tears shining in her eyes. "This incredible woman here is Abigail. Many of you know her as the gardener's daughter, but to me she is much more than that. Abigail has been my best friend since we were children. She is the person who has always been by my side in good times and bad." Harper turned to look directly at Abigail. "Abby, I made a huge mistake by not inviting you to be my maid of honor. I let petty opinions influence me, and I deeply regret that. Because the truth is, you are, and always will be, my maid of honor. No matter what you wear or where you come from, you are the most loyal and wonderful friend anyone could have." Tears rolled down Abigail's face as Harper continued. "You have been with me every step of this dream, from our childhood games to today, when you calmed me down and gave me the courage to walk into this hall. This wedding, this dream come true, would not be the same without you." Harper then turned to the guests, her voice firm and full of emotion. "I want everyone to know that this incredible woman by my side is much more than just a guest. She is my sister at heart, my confidant, my strength. Abigail, thank you for everything. For being who you are, for your unconditional friendship, for your huge heart. I love you, my friend." With these words, Harper pulled Abigail into a tight hug, both of them openly crying now. The hall erupted in applause, many guests having tears in their eyes at the sincere display of friendship. The friends who once mocked Abigail now seemed deeply ashamed, unable to look in any direction. When the hug finally ended, Abigail looked at Harper with a radiant smile through her tears. "I love you too, Harp. Always." The rest of the party was filled with an atmosphere of genuine joy and love. Harper made sure that Abigail stayed by her side during important moments. Later, when Harper and Brady were getting ready to leave for their honeymoon, the bride pulled Abigail in for one last hug. "Thank you for everything, Abby," she whispered. "For being my friend, for always supporting me, for reminding me of what truly matters." Abigail smiled, squeezing Harper's hand. "I'll always be here for you, Harp, no matter what happens." As the newlyweds' car drove away, Harper waved from the window, her gaze fixed on Abigail. In that moment, they both knew their friendship had been tested and emerged even stronger. The lesson that Harper learned that day would stay with her forever. True friendships are rare and precious, transcending social classes, expectations, and appearances. They provide us with a security and love that no status or wealth can buy. And as the car disappeared into the night, taking Harper and Brady to their new life together, Abigail smiled, knowing that no matter the distance or time, she and Harper would always have each other. Because some friendships are simply meant to last forever. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.